Hello gamers, it's Tom Sidener, the Lonely Gamer. Today is Friday, March the 24th, 2017, and it's time for the news. So, there's a few things in the news I want to talk about, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Gama, because Gama is finished now, but there are tons of announcements out there, and I'm going to try to give you some information on the ones that I found the most interesting. So first of all, if you're a Clank fan like I am, Clank Sunken Treasure expansion is now available at retail, so you can go pick that up. It is readily available. I looked at several places this morning, and all places that I looked at had it in stock. Also, Vast Crystal Caverns is a very popular game, and it has been reprinted and is now available as well. I know the first printing went pretty quick, and a lot of people wanted it, but they couldn't get it. But now Vast Crystal Caverns is now available, and so you should be able to pick that up as well. Ascension, the card game that has 1,000,000 iterations, has 1,000,001 now. So now there's a new Ascension that was just released. It's called Gift of the Elements, and that is also available at retail. And if you're a fan of the Imperial Settlers franchise, they also have a new faction available, and that faction is the Aztecs, and they have the Aztecs expansion available. And I don't know about you guys, but when we play Imperial Settlers, we just add the different factions in as another player. So if you're doing it that way, this should take you up to 6 players if you're trying to play multiple players with that. So that's it for the regular news today. Let's see what other things were out there from the Gama trade show. So one of the games that I found quite interesting from the announcements of the Gama trade show is Wastelands Express. That's by Pandasaurus Games. And that is a pick up and deliver game where you're in a post-apocalyptic society, and you're like a UPS driver, and you're trying to pick up and deliver packages. Now, of course, the packages that you're picking up and deliver are not some of the most up things, like you might be delivering arms or food or medicine or something like that. Something that kind of goes in line with the post-apocalyptic theme. But it looks like a very, very fun game and a really cool game. The artwork is amazing. Every person has their own little truck, the board that they're putting things on and moving it from one location to the other. You can get attacked by raiders and stuff while you're trying to deliver your packages and everything. And it looked like a really cool game, and it was a game that I was interested in, and I thought you might be interested in as well. The next game that I saw that I really thought was really cool is a game called Dinosaur Island. That's also by Pandasaurus Games. And the interesting thing about that is, in every aspect of that game, it is Jurassic Park. The graphics look like Jurassic Park. The gameplay is like Jurassic Park. It's pretty much Jurassic Park in a box. But unfortunately, I don't think Pandasaurus had the license, so they named it Dinosaur Island, i.e. Jurassic Park. No, just kidding. It's pretty much, when you're playing the game, it's pretty much playing Jurassic Park. First of all, you're starting by researching, and I think there was even a picture of something like a mosquito or something caught in a piece of amber. And you're researching, and then you're actually trying to grow dinosaurs in the next phase. And in the next phase, you're creating a park where people can come and see the dinosaurs. And in the next phase, you're setting up security, trying to make it so that the dinosaurs don't escape and eat the park goers. And then in the next phase, you're managing your park goers, and you've got hooligans and bad guys that are trying to mess up your park. And then it goes back and starts all over again. You start in the first phase and you go through it several times. And the person who builds the most impressive dinosaur park, Jurassic Park, is going to be the winner of the game. I find this quite amusing. I know that licensing things are not, amusing, and that it's very expensive to buy a license. So if I was going to make a game that was absolutely nothing but Jurassic Park, I would call it Dinosaur Island. Anyway, moving on. That's a cool game, Pandasaurus. I'm looking forward to that one, and that's one that I would definitely like to play. The next thing I found was quite interesting was that Codenames, the game that brought you Codenames and Codenames Pictures, is also bringing you a 2-player game. It's actually either a 2-player game or a 2-team game that you can play in the Codenames genre. Now, Codenames is not my favorite game. I like to play code games like a couple times, but code games gives me a headache. Every time I play code games, I think so hard trying to come up with ways to associate all these words together that it makes my head hurt. It actually gives me a headache. I have to take a couple aspirin every time I play this game. So I'm not sure this is a game for me, but if you love code names, this looks like a pretty fun game. So what you're doing is, instead of having a thing that's grid that shows you where the spies and the people are, all your people that you're trying to get, you have a double-sided one. And the person on the other side sees where your spies are, and you see where their spies or operatives or whatever they call them are. I guess it's not the spy. They each do have a spy that will kill you, but where the operatives are, and then you're trying to get them to guess theirs, and they're trying to get you to guess yours, and that it's pretty cool. It looks like a pretty fun game, but it's kind of a way to play it with not so many people. So if you like Codenames and you want a two-player or a two-team game, then definitely check out Codenames Duet. Another game that I found that looked really, really cool is a game called Heroes Welcome. It's by Pencil First Games and Monkey Jump, and it is a pretty cool concept. So what you are goblins, and you have this little town, and in your town you're trying to get heroes to come to your town to buy your goods and use your services. So what you're doing is you're sending the heroes through this dungeon, and it's kind of an automated dungeon, and the heroes go through there, and as they go through there they pick up treasures and artifacts and stuff like that, and gold and stuff. And then as the goblins, you're trying to get the heroes to come to your inn and spend money on mead, or you're trying to get them to come to your blacksmith shop and spend money on weapons and stuff like that. And so pretty much what you're trying to do is you're trying to suck all the money and the gold and everything from the adventurers. And then when you're done, you send them right back through the dungeon again to get more goods. And then in the end, whoever is the most productive goblin in the game is going to be the winner. It's a very, very cool concept. It's something that I've never heard of before, and it seems like a really cool game. So if that sounds cool to you, it's Heroes Welcome by Pencil First Games and Monkey Jump. Another game that looked pretty interesting was Aviation Tycoon. That's by Mr. B Games. And in Aviation Tycoon, it's a pick up and deliver game of passengers, but you are picking them up and delivering them on airlines, but you do not own the airlines. So you can buy stock in the airlines, and you actually want to buy stock in multiple different airlines, and you're trying to make the most money by getting passengers to go through the airlines that you have stock in. Now, of course, the other players are sending passengers on trips through the airlines as well, so when they send people through certain airlines, you make money. So it's really more of a stock market game than a pick up and deliver game, but it does have a pretty cool concept. It looks like a pretty neat game, and that one I actually thought looked pretty nice as well, and that's Aviation Tycoon by Mr. B Games. The company USopoly is announcing a bunch of expansions for the Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle game. They're announcing monsters and creatures expansions, where they're going to add monsters and creatures to the game. They do recommend that you play through the game through all the levels of the base game before you add in these expansions, because apparently these expansions build on the characters as long, because you want the characters to be built up before you try to do these expansions. Otherwise, you're probably going to get killed if you try to do them with the first level characters. But once you play through the base game and you've played all, I think, 7 levels of it, then you can start adding these expansions. And I think they're coming out with 4 of them. And each expansion actually adds several different creatures or monsters or bad guys to the game that you can add and move forward in the game. Now, USopoly also has a license on the Munchkin franchise, and they are doing some superhero Munchkin games. They are announcing this year they are going to do a big expansion, which is the X-Men expansion for Munchkin, and then they're going to do some small expansions, which one of them was going to be Deadpool, and they're also doing a Munchkin expansion for Rick and Morty. Another thing that I'm looking forward to that's come out of Gama is White Wizard Games has announced that they are going to create a campaign system for their Hero Realms deck building game. Now, I actually don't even own Hero Realms. It's a game that I want to get. It's on my list to get. I have Star Realms, and it's an okay game. I actually play it a lot on my iPad, but I don't play it a lot with the cards. But my friend John has Hero Realms, and I've played it with him, and I do enjoy that game, so it's a game I want to get. I'm kind of on the fence because I want to get the game with all the character expansions, and it gets kind of pricey when you add those character expansions in. I think it's like a $15 game, but when you add in all the character expansions, it jumps it up to about a $40 game. I'm not sure I'm ready to jump in with that, but the campaign system works with the base game plus the character expansions and actually makes it so that you can play through these scenarios, these different for an entire campaign to actually continue to play your game. And as you play, your character gets new cards into your deck, which you carry over to other plays, and you work your way through this campaign. It looks really cool. It's looks fun. I hope they can pull it off. I know a lot of people have tried this. I know the Pathfinder adventure card game is probably the closest to this type of thing that they have out there, but I'm kind of hoping this does a little bit better, because in Pathfinder adventure card game, I like that game, but it always feels like a solo game. In fact, I like playing it by myself the best, because when I play it with other people, it doesn't really feel any different. It doesn't feel like I can help them very much. I mean, you can play some cards that let them do things on their turn, like draw cards and stuff, but if I'm a big old giant fighter and I'm playing with this wimpy little rogue, I should be able to jump in front of him and kill that monster and, you know, and help him. But in Pathfinder, you really can't do that. The poor rogue, you know, he runs into a cavern, big monster kills him, or, you know, and then, you know, and then you kind of got to go from there, and you get to be a bystander and watch him getting killed. So anyway, I'm kind of hope this game does it well, because I'm looking for a card game where multiple people can play a game together in a little group and try to dungeon dwell and you know, and have it feel like you're actually a group and that you're actually helping each other out. So that's Hero Realms campaign coming out this year. Emergence Games actually has a game out right now. It is currently available. It's called Fireteam Zero, and it's an absolutely huge game. It's a big box game. The box is one of the thickest boxes this way that I've ever seen, and it comes with a ton of minis and everything. And what it is you are a fire team, a team of, you know, mercenaries that are going in, and you're trying to do these scenarios. Aliens have come down to Earth, and they have infiltrated, and they've taken over these areas, and you're trying to go in and you're trying to complete these scenarios in these alien infested areas. And the game kind of starts out slowly but starts ramping up, and you have to kind of quell the alien invasion and also complete the scenarios before the game gets completely out of hand. And it looks like a really fun game, and they have announced that they have several expansions coming out this year for Fireteam Zero. There are going to be boxed expansions that have new scenarios and new figures in them, and then they're also going to have figure packs which are just packs of figures that you can add to the game, different aliens and different creatures that you can fight against, and so on and so forth. So it looks really nice, and just the amount of stuff that they're releasing this year in figures and expansions and everything is just fun. It's just amazing. So if you're a fan of Fireteam Zero, you've got a lot of good stuff coming this year that you can add to your game. Slugfest Games is announcing a couple new characters for their Red Dragon Inn. The characters are going to be Keat and Nightrail. There are a couple goblins. They're actually brother and sister goblins. Keat is an adventurer who goes out and likes to find a lot of artifacts, and so in his deck he has an artifact deck that takes precedence over gold. So he has, instead of getting gold at the beginning of the game, he gets these artifacts, and he can use the artifacts during the game, but if he does, then it lowers his gold. So it's a plus minus thing for him. That he can use them, but then his gold goes down, and so he has to kind of decide, you know, whether or not he wants to use them. Nightrail is a goblin bomber, and so she has a lot of bombing type things in her deck where she can blow things up, and who doesn't like to blow things up? So two new characters for Red Dragon Inn. They can be mixed in with all the other Red Dragon Inn stuff. They also have announced that they're going to bring out a new game that's in the Red Dragon Inn world, and that's going to be Red Dragon Inn Battle for Grave port, and in this game you are at the end and a bunch of monsters start attacking the town that you're in, and you have to go out there and you have to save the town. And so your character is going to have monsters that are attacking him or her, and the town is going to have locations like maybe the mayor's office or the pub or the actual Red Dragon Inn, and monsters are attacking them, and so you as a group are trying to clear up all the monsters and get rid of them. You can actually fight monsters that are in front of you, you can fight monsters that are in front of locations, or you can fight monsters that are in front of your friends. The interesting thing about this game is it's a no downtime game, so you are constantly playing. Even when on other people's turns, you're still playing cards. So when I take my turn and I'm fighting my monsters, you can play cards to help fight my monsters. And if the guy over here is fighting a monster at the Red Dragon Inn, you can play cards to help them fight the monsters at the Red Dragon Inn. So it's a cool game in the fact that it tries to keep the downtime for the players to a minimum. And that's Red Dragon Inn Battle for Greyport. Restoration Games, we've talked about them before on the newscast. They are, definitely working diligently to bring out some of these games that have died in the past, and they're trying to bring them out, and resurrect them. And some of the ones they're working on right now is Stop Thief, Downforce, and Indulgence. Stop Thief is currently on Kickstarter, so if you're interested in that, you can go over to Kickstarter and actually kickstart that. Stop Thief originally came with an electronic device that helped you play the game, but this game is going to use an app instead of that, so it gives them the ability to actually make the game a little more robust by using the app instead of the limitations of an actual electronic device. Downforce and Indulgence will both be in stores this year. They are not going to Kickstart. Stronghold Games has announced just a slew of games, and I'm just going to name them off really quick and throw some graphics up so you can see what they look like. I highly recommend you go out and research them if one of these looks cool to you. So that's Pit Crew, Not Alone, Get the Cheese, Dungeon Rush, Flame Royale, which is a bike racing game, which I'm fairly interested in because I actually bike a lot. Frog Riders, Fields of Green, Cottage Garden, and Ghost Catchers. Check these out if any of these sound interesting to you. I think most of these games are either reprints or redoings of a game that was already out. I don't think there's any games here that are actually new and never been released. So I think most of these are actually redos or reprints. IDW Games is also announcing a bunch of games, and I'm just going to read those off and show graphics of those as well, just to save time. There's so much stuff coming out of Gama that it's almost impossible to talk about it all. I've got what I'm going to talk about today, and I probably have another 2 days worth of stuff that I could talk about. So IDW Games is bringing out Escape 100 Million BC, Sakatsu, King Creepers, Torres, Sherlock and Holmes, which is a Sherlock and Holmes game with cats. My nieces would absolutely love this game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Showdown, Planet of the Apes, and then they're also going to be bringing out several games in the Atari line. I don't know how they're going to do this. I'm kind of on the fence on this. It looks like it might be really cool, and it might just be I don't know. We'll have to see how the games play. But they're bringing out Centipede first, and then they're going to be doing Asteroids and Missile Command, and they've also hinted that there's some other Atari games that they're going to be doing that they can't talk about yet. So be looking for those. Last but not least, AEG is going to be bringing out a game called Custom Heroes. That looks like a pretty cool game. It's in the same vein of Mystic Veil, where you're changing cards by using clear see-through cards. In this game, I'm happy to see that the cards look like standard size playing cards, so you could use standard sleeves, and then you just slide things in front of them that actually modify the cards. It's a trick-taking game, but you're actually building up your heroes with weapons and different things that will help you take tricks in the game. It looks pretty cool. I never was that interested in Mystic Veil because the cards were a weird size, and and it just seemed kind of finicky the way you did it. But this one doesn't look too bad. If these are regular poker-sized cards and you can really quickly throw the clear things into the sleeves, might not be too bad. They also have announced Lovecraft Letter. That's a Lovecraftian love letter game that they're coming out with. I'm a little burnt out on love letter. I play the Batman love letter mostly. That's my favorite one. But this is kind of supposed to add some extra stuff. It doesn't have the exact same cards as love letter. It has all the cards that love letter has, but it also has some other cards that are like duplicates of the original cards, but they're bad ones that'll make you go crazy because you know it's the whole the whole Lovecraft thing where you're losing your sanity. So there's a way in this game to lose your sanity by playing these more powerful cards, but they actually can make you go crazy. So look for that one. It's kind of a big box game, as you know, it goes with love letter. You know, love letters is just a little games, and this box is pretty good size. The box kind of reminded me of the Biblios box. So if you know kind of the size of that, that's about the size of this game. It comes with bigger cards, it looks like. It comes with poker, those nice poker chips for keeping track of score and stuff. So it is a nicer quality game than the other love letter games, but I think it's pretty much in the same vein. And the last thing is AEG is actually bringing out a game that was a independent game. I'm really curious to see how this goes because I have a game out there that's an independent game, and this game that they're bringing out was actually on the same place that mine is. It was on the Game Crafter, and AEG saw it, they liked it, they picked it up. I hope they do more of this because there's a lot of really good independent game developers out there that I think somebody should pick up their games and actually mass market them. But this game is called The Captain is Dead. It looks like a really cool cooperative game. It definitely looks like something that I might pick up, not just because it looks like a really good game, but because it was made by an independent designer, and I want to help support the independent designers because I'm hoping this happens for more people. I hope more people make a game, put it out on Game Crafter, and a big company sees it and says, hey, we want to produce that game, and you know, help these people to move along in their dreams of actually developing games. And that's it. That's it for the news today. I hope you guys are playing a lot of games. I hope you're having a lot of fun doing it. I've done a few videos on Mythic Battles Pantheon, so if you're interested in that game, definitely go check out my demo game that I did and my how-to print and play game that I did. But until I see you next time, from the bottom of my heart, happy gaming. With the post-apocalypse. With for the Harry Potter Hogwarts for the Munchkin franchise.